Happy Halloween, everybody. We've got a brand new special edition of the USFL podcast, and we got 5 new player signings for you coming your way this week, and it all starts right now.
1, 2, 3.
Hello again, everybody. Again, welcome to a special edition of the USFL podcast. I am Zach Heilman, I swear. This is me hosting this week alongside, you might have to stop and look a second, but it is my good pal, as always, the Rev himself. You can tell, man, we took a few styling cues from each other, and the imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. It's also the perfect time to do this during the year. My good friend, happy Halloween to you. I would say you did an impeccable job mimicking just me, my aura.
I'll tell you, Zach, I don't know how you live with this thing on your face. Seems to get in the way quite often.
well, I'll say one thing. Mine doesn't have to be like taped on or falling, and I'm not eating my mustache.
We're going to get through this episode one way or another, but it's Halloween time, baby. You know we had to dress up. I was talking about before the show, too. I was like, what am I going to wear? I know the beard and the hair, I just won't wear a hat. We have similar enough hair. Mine's maybe not as floofy as yours. But I was like, a shirt. I was like, I don't think I have a Panthers shirt. I was thinking maybe I'll wear a Stallions shirt because it was a similar maroony color and just slap a Panthers logo. And then I realized I had the jersey. I said, okay, I'll put this bad boy to use. Oh, my God, by the end of this episode, I'm going to be like my cat coughing up a hairball.
It's the best time for you to wear that jersey right now. And I'm and not only just for that, but I'm predicting Panthers turnaround, baby. We're going all the way. I'm throwing it.
I hope so.
It's Halloween. Anything's possible.
I mean, Panthers or gamblers, I'll be happy. It seems like the Maulers are the ones that are really going for it this year. But the Panthers, I mean, like we talked about in the past, with that first pick in every round of the draft next year, looking pretty good, and they're keeping the coach. But we got some news this week. Not a lot of news, but some news nonetheless. But before we get to news, Zach, what do we got on the docket?
Oh, as always, we got to get through our little bit of a bookkeeping, if you will. First off, hey, if you haven't followed us on social, what are you doing? Go over there, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at USFL Podcast on all 3 of those platforms. And we're especially active on Twitter. You'll want to keep up with us for sure on there. But following us on all 3 and at least be ready for updates when episodes drop as well. We've also been posting interviews, by the way, separate too, more and more, trying to get more used to, if you guys can't watch the full show, we got an extra bit for you. So keep an eye. We post those too on our Twitter and Facebook about when those drop on our own playlist. Also, by the way, if you haven't done this, you follow us on social, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, hey, if you're watching or listening to the podcast version, you're curious about, hey, what's this YouTube version looking? Halloween edition. What? The ref and Zach are swapping their outfits. Well, hey, head on over there, smack the subscribe button, and then click that bell because it builds morale, people. It builds morale. I really had to put.
I'm loving it, Zach,
because he does it better than me, and I have to match his energy today if I'm wearing this outfit. So keeping that in mind. But click that bell, builds morale, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton as we keep growing our audience. And not only do we do that, but with growing our audience, we also get closer to that 5,000 subscriber mark we are aiming for, in which you can win a completely customized USFL jersey from the USFL shop, courtesy of us. We just have to hit 5,000 subs, and you guys have to click that bell along the way too. Finally, and we always have to bring this up because thank you very much, Royal Retros. You guys are amazing and have been great partners with us throughout this show's run so far. Head on over to Royal Retros for your favorite retro gear: USFL, XFL, World League of America Football, ABA basketball. We've got We got old school hockey jerseys, anything you can think of that is old school retro vibe that you want to jump into, they got. And not just jerseys, we're talking Letterman jackets, we're talking shirts, tees. There's a ton of stuff on Royal Retros, and use the code USFL Podcast at checkout to get 10% off your entire order. That helps the show, helps their site, and you get some pretty sweet swag along the way. Head on over there and use the code at your leisure. Now we're in. We are fully on in the show. Again, not crazy amount of news. The league can't always drop things week by week.
You got to have an off week, but still some big stuff nonetheless. I mean, it shows that the league works.
Great stuff NFL-wise. And yes, thank you. That's the best way to segue this. Great reasons to say, hey, spring football, USFL, it's proving that it does indeed work. And it also is showing, hey, these scouts are keeping tabs on players if they need to, go reconnaissance and bring them up into the ranks, because we got 5 active players now on the NFL rosters, which is more than we did started of the year. There's a lot of them practice squads. Some of those guys are getting their opportunities now. Credit, some of it's via injury. I don't root for those, by the way. No one should. But these players, they are making the best of their opportunities when needed. Some of them are performing at really star levels right now. And we'll go down the list, of course.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing too. You know what else I heard, Zach? This probably isn't it. By the end of this 17-week NFL season, we're probably going to see a couple more of these guys come on through to the NFL, whether it be the practice squad guys that are there already moving up, or maybe other guys getting a chance, just like you mentioned, misfortune of injury, or maybe a player's not performing. But I mean, the first guy on our list, this should be no surprise, because not only was he the MVP of the USFL, not only was he signed to the Dallas Cowboys, but I think in a record for spring football leagues, he was signed to a 3-year deal, and that's Kevontae Turpin, the only player in the NFL to have multiple 50-yard returns, one of which came this past week against my team, the Lions. It was a bittersweet game, but it was a fun game because not only was Kevontae Turpin there, on the other side of the field in the Honolulu Blue was former Philadelphia Stars Maurice Alexander. And so that's pretty flippin' awesome just right there. Not only do you have one guy in the NFL, you have 2 guys, but in the same game opposing each other in similar roles. I mean, Kevontae got the better of him in this matchup, I'd say. I mean, the score. I can't blame Maurice too much. He is playing for the Lions. I feel bad for everybody, those early season people that are like, oh, the Lions, they're going to be all right. We only lost by 3. Oh.
Yeah, I get my NFL opportunity, but you mean to tell me I got to go from Philadelphia to Detroit?
It's a shame, man.
I was on a championship roster. I'm messing around, but you guys still be
happy. 100%. Well, I mean, I just love that he's on the Lions. I got to get me a Maurice Alexander Lions jersey now. You know what I mean?
Customize it, man. Get that bad boy and go on the NFL shop or something.
Oh,
get
for
that
sure.
One. I'd be doing that. And look, I want to point this out too, because I love this moment as well. The USFL, they've been doing an excellent job at highlighting players, getting in, making highlights, and getting opportunities, that is, to start. So this whole list, they've had posts for every single one of these guys that the league's main account has been saying, congrats, go get it. These guys are starting this week. You want to check it out. And one of those in particular, and we're going to show this right here, is, well, Kevontae Turpin and Maurice Alexander had a moment after that said game. They actually swapped jerseys. So it was really cool. Kind of shows you full circle, these two, being profile talents and guys that have been grinding to get to this point. Both active roster, both being return specialists as well. It's great imagery as into what could be the result of a professionally spring football league like this existing long term. Seeing more of these guys kind of form a brotherhood, saying we took this path, we made it here, and now we're making the most of it right now.
Right. Well, that's one of the differences with the USFL, and I think part of that is due to the hub concept, right? I think you had a lot more camaraderie between the teams than you would normally. I mean, for instance, the NFL, right? not very many Cowboys and Eagles fans, chilling and hanging out, and probably the same for the players as well. But with the NFL, I mean, they kind of came into this all together. Maybe that'll change a little bit as the hub system goes away, but for that year one, these are the things that you love to see. And I can't wait to see who else we get to see on the field, not only this year, but next year, man, because there's going to be guys. We always think about the new guys joining the USFL, the new guys coming into the league. Well, I think there's going to be year 2 guys in the USFL that then move on to the NFL, and maybe even year 3 guys where they're honing their skills, they're building their craft, and then they get to the point where the team needs what they have to offer. They have enough tape. They have enough of that seasoning, if you will. Maybe somebody else from one of the teams goes up to the NFL and they're saying, hey, you should really look at this guy. I played with him out there, and that guy can either block a tackle, catch a football, run, whatever it might be, right? Everybody has a need for everything. So, I don't know. Good start. And real life playing action too, not just chilling in the back,
Oh, sure. I mean, both of these guys have been actively getting on the field. Alexander was promoted out of necessity for the Lions, having some injury woes at the receiver. But, you've seen when he came in, even for that, and I think that's why you see him getting more reps, is, okay, explosive player that has returnability. I mean, we're talking about the guy that wound up Cavante Turpin, of all people, in the semifinal matchup for the Northern Division. Think about that. That's so ironic in its own way. These two meeting up as well. The two arguably best returners in the game for the USFL. The two that scored touchdowns in the semifinals of this championship. And again, Alexander got the last laugh, but Cavante Turpin, both of them are getting to have their opportunities. It's funny how things go full circle sometimes.
100%.
Like and sure enough, a game matches up on the schedule like this.
Right. And like I said, these are just two of the guys. We spent a lot of time talking about these. Again, I had a lot of interest in this game just because it's the Lions, but then you had the USFL MVP and Maurice Alexander in there. Man, I'm tuned in. But let's not forget, we also got Tay Hayes going from the Stallions to the Panthers. And this one's a major one here, too, because the Chargers were having problems in this area. And I don't know if you saw the clip. I think it came out last week after his debut game. He got one of the game balls, Taylor Bertolette, going from the Breakers to the Chargers. I mean, what a great story. And now when I think about things like United by Football, we don't know if we're going to get a season 2, but let's just imagine a world where we do. I find it hard to believe we don't see clips like that going in at least that first week of, hey, United by Football. Here's a recap of season 1. Remember these guys? This is what they're doing now. Now we got a whole new crop to work on, right? Or, returning guys, new guys going into the draft. Make it a reality, Fox. I will watch.
Upgrade. Give us the footage of the upgrade if you can, or at least get a few of them to sit down and talk about that kind of how that helps propel you.
For sure.
Because I mean, if you're like a league exec or someone that's going, it's about the players, it's about getting that next opportunity. Like Daryl Johnson, for example. At the very least, if I'm Daryl, I'm going, we need to get that at least one of these guys in an interview for this next season. Like get whoever is available and also is the best, I think, at giving the explanation on why on this journey. I mean, Turpin alone, if you get him on, I mean, you could talk about all of them and how this one was the stop that really pushed him over the edge to get him up to the NFL level this time. So I agree. I do want to talk though on the three guys you mentioned below. Tay Hayes, what is there to say? If you're a Stallions fan, one of the stars on this defensive unit, that's a championship D. Stellar corner in the USFL, one of the top guys in my opinion, getting his shot. He was with Carolina previously before he went to Birmingham. So familiarity, he comes back and, he kind of was promoted, then was relegated back to practice squad. Now he's promoted again. So clearly he is one of those guys that if they need to pull him up for roster depth or for special teams, he has already shown his worth. Taylor Bertolette, I think right now, besides Cavante Turpin, has made the most impact, at least on the scene in the NFL. He's been accurate. He has been a stellar choice to switch to for kicking so far for the Chargers. And that's not going away anytime soon. If you're a good kicker and you're getting consistent, teams generally say stick with the guy that's hot.
For sure. Why wouldn't they? Why would they switch it up, right? Unless you start missing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's start missing, which you hope for his sake. And I think a lot of USFL fans are hoping, hey, I hope this guy gets to keep on going with his journey. If you're anyone in the AFC West, maybe you're different, but I digress. Look, it's football, but rivalries still exist. I understand. And Mitch Fabroni, from the Maulers, who's been making plays. He's special teams wise. He's already been out on punt returns already. Dude's been getting some tackles we've seen. I actually highlighted one of those in the USFL's Twitter and Facebook accounts, which again, it's amazing how well they've been doing in terms of like a player does something a little after they do something. They're like, give me the video, post it right now. It highlights, hey, this is the success story. This is awesome. You want to root for this, no reason not to if the guy gets the highest level. We hope that players do. That's the message.
Sure. And this, like I said, this shows that spring football leagues, the USFL, work. There's incentive for guys to choose this avenue because right here, 5, we're only in one season. You get this thing going a couple years, 2-3 seasons, especially like I said, everybody thinks about the new guys coming to the USFL and then making the ship to the NFL. There's going to be guys that are going to be honing their craft in this league that are going to be better next year than they were this year. If anything, because they know their teammates maybe a little bit better. They know their coaches a little bit better. Maybe the training camp's not super long, but these people are keeping in contact. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. They're getting things done. And then, like I said, you go into season 3, season 4, man, we could really see like a Kurt Warner situation come out of this. Right? Maybe not right away. I get it. That's tough to spot year 1, year 2, but you get into those 3 to 5 years, it is a feasible situation.
I think a lot of people want the next PJ Walker as well. So, or the next Taylor Heineke, which props to them. Side note, those guys had an awesome weekend prior to this one. 2 wins for those guys, and those are spring football legends in this community.
Even though Taylor Heineke never played a down for the Battle Hawks.
I know. That's what's crazier is, he played behind Jordan Ta'amu, who people love Jordan. We love Jordan too. But Taylor comes in. His story's even more nuts. He comes in, goes to the Commanders, gets signed on as, backup. Things go one way or another to where he's playing at the end of their season and basically has the best performance during a Super Bowl run that the Tampa Bay Bucks have, where they were the closest team to beating them.
Yeah, I know. Think about that. Going
at least in the playoffs,
toe-to-toe with Tom Brady in your first year in the NFL, coming off being a backup in the XFL. Sign him up. But yeah, I can't wait to see that with the USFL. And there's plenty of guys in there right now that I could see jump into that role, and especially after a couple more years of seasoning it up. Oh yeah, it's prime. It's ready.
I think a lot of people want to see Turpin get in at receiver now, because more and more you're seeing the speed of him getting these returns. Right now, you can make an argument that he is currently the best punt returner in the game. I'm going to stand by that point because I haven't seen another punt returner that's being as explosive as him at this time. So I kind of also, and the Cowboys have so many weapons, that's why it's hard, but I want some plays. I want to see him, catch like a quick outside pass. I want him to do a sweep. Jet sweeps, I imagine he could dominate on if you give him that. Like, do some stuff the Generals are doing, like Mike Riley. Yeah. Because that's the next step. I'm like, cool. This dude can run for multiple 40, 50-yard run backs in the year already. It's not even halfway through the year. Can we please give him on offense? I want to see him on offense now.
I know. You would think they're going to try. Why wouldn't they at some point? We'll see. We'll just have to wait. I know it'll tear some people up, but you might have to watch an extra Cowboys game or 2 this year. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
we were doing so good with this, and then I had to go and fiddle with it.
You messed with it a little too much. As a Bears fan, looking at this list, by the way, and knowing that this player is still on our roster, and also that this position to me, I think, could be upgraded by him. Maybe I'm being biased or not. I really want DeMarcus Gates to get promoted to the active roster. Because look, I watch the games every week for Chicago. Outside of Roquan Smith, there's no one impresses me beyond Roquan. Nick Morrow, I'd be like, screw it. Nick Morrow's been meh. Throw him. I would say if the situation rises, I don't want someone to get benched automatically because that seems rude, and I'm also trying to be fair. But if the situation rises and you get a chance, I want to see DeMarcus Gates. I think he would be an excellent addition to your starting roster, and I want to see that man tear it up because right now Chicago has been on a tear defensively. They look like they have recovered themselves back, and I think he'd be better at run stopping than maybe Nick Morrow too. I don't know. If any NFL fans are watching this and you disagree, I'm a Bears fan, so I watch this team every week and I see what I see. But DeMarcus Gates is on that roster, and you guys know how well he played as not only a solid linebacker but as a solid pass rusher. I want that man on my active 53 and playing. Please, I beg you, Chicago. I am begging you, Eberflus, put this man on your active roster. I guarantee he'll impact the game.
And you know what? Here's what you actually do. Don't do that, Zach. You're spoiled. Send him up to Detroit. Give him a buddy that he's played in the.
No.
You know, he's got his USFL buddy over in Detroit.
You have to do this to me. You're giving me the situation where it's like, yeah, sure, I want him playing too. Just don't play there. Go up to the lake. Go up to the Canadian border where you could get Tim Hortons and
straight up, bro. You know they opened a Tim Hortons by me. I don't know why, but actually not by me. But
wait, hold on. There's a Tim Hortons in Texas.
When I say by me, I mean like an hour and a half away. But that's by me. Like it's in Houston. But why? Why is there a Tim Hortons in Houston? I'm not going to complain. I can't wait till I have to go down to Houston.
I wish I could tell you because I don't know. I'm just used to them being up in the like off-season, off-topic type of thing. I don't know why you would put one down there.
I'm happy. I can't wait to go down there. We had them all over the place in Michigan. They're great, man. Timbits, sign me up. You roll the lid up for the little games. Sign me up. But, I can't wait to go check that out. You know, this is the thing. So I tried, off season, off topic. Let's just take a break here real quick.
You might as well. I mean, look, we're in Halloween, Gab. So, I mean, eventually that's going to be coming here. You guys know we're going to talk about
Well, before we talk to Halloween, there's one we should all congratulate a certain group of people real quick. Congratulations to the Houston Astros for once again making it to the World Series, baby. Come on.
So I did not agree to this note. He put this in himself. Sure. Cool. Congrats to the trash can men. I appreciate
we're going to cheat
that they have made
so hard. I don't even care if we get caught. Here's the deal, buddy. So, I am miffed a little bit. They win the game. Instantly, they put merchandise on sale, right? So what do? I need an Astros World Series hat. When does it arrive? November 11th. By then, we're going to be the champions. So I'm going to need a new hat. I mean,
you really, that's such a dangerous gamble. Why would you? The shipping alone already might date you if you lose to the Phillies.
Well, it's not a World Series champion hat. It's just you're playing in the World Series. But yeah, why? I want it beforehand. Well, I was trying to buy tickets to the game, which, oh boy, even before the off market value, they're not cheap. Dude, They were gone. They weren't even cheap. They were gone. Man, I went in, I saw the note, and then I went in less than 3 minutes after they went on sale. All 4 available games to buy in Houston sold out. And so I was like, well, let me take a look on StubHub. How bad could it be?
And that's guaranteeing that you're going to have 4 home games.
Yeah, we're not. We're only going to have 2 because we're going to sweep them. So anyway,
Jesus, I did not come into this episode expecting a Houston Astros fanboy fest. I know you're a big fan, but dude, this is the scariest Halloween thing I'm getting is listening to.
It's
and it looks like me. It's like I'm saying that the Houston Astros are the greatest team in the world.
Yes, I planned this perfectly. Zach Kyleman. No, anyway. So if anybody's got the hookup on World Series tickets, just don't make them $1 million. Let me know. Because I looked, dude, it was over $500 for standing room only, all the way in the back, not even a decent area to stand. We're talking in the 600 section standing area behind the plate. like $600, $500-600. Nah, I'll pass. I'll pass on that. But I will watch them on TV. I will watch it. Oh my God. I'm getting punished for it if it makes you.
Yeah, you deserve this. The mustache.
Oh man,
you deserve.
It took me out that time. I'm not gonna lie. Oh,
don't swallow.
I'm trying not to. It's just flying in my mouth from all this shit I'm talking.
yeah. I say that's the worst representation of what a mustache is like. It's not at all like that.
Anyway, so how many games do you think the Astros are gonna win in?
I say they lose in 7. I'm going with Philly. I can't bring myself.
I will say this. They didn't listen to me, Zach. When I watched them sweep the Yankees, I was like, oh, my God, you're doing it again, because that stuff never works. I'll say this. The Phillies did it right. How many games did they have in that series? 5.
They had 5.
5, because you have that loss. The loss to set you back on track. And I was watching Game 4, and they were down at the beginning. I said, Astros, thank God you're smart. Thank God you're paying attention to the ref here. You're following the winning strat. But no, they had to be so flipping good that they had to come back and win. But you know what? This year, hey, you know what? We're just going to sweep the playoffs. The only thing I wish is somehow we were a wild card team so we could have swept even more teams. But anyway, we'll celebrate on the next episode, maybe.
Unreal. Look, it is what it is. I'll get my solace on as this is my final point on the World Series. I'll give you this. You knock the Yankees out. I might have issues with cheating, but boy, do I despise the team that has the most money in baseball. I'll take that one over that at least for today.
Nobody likes the Yankees. They're like the Packers of baseball. FTY.
Mm-hmm. They're the reason why I wish baseball had a salary cap, by the way. The sole reason. Them and the Dodgers. Okay, two reasons.
Right. Well, hey, look how good that did the Dodgers this year.
That's true.
Anyway.
And then the Padres got cocky and Philadelphia took advantage.
And the Phillies, I mean, good on them because they haven't been like the team in a while. Like, I mean, they have been in my lifetime, unlike most of the teams I follow. But I mean, it's been easily a decade since they've been kind of that team, I'd say, right? It's been a while.
Yeah. Oh, it's been well over a decade. So look, Philadelphia fans, you know, you're feeling pretty good right now. I mean, think about this. This is how I wrap this back around, by the way. You have the Phillies who are now going to be in the World Series this starting Friday or today when the show drops here. You know, it'll be the first game and you have a chance to, you know, get a World Series championship if you want. World Series win. That sounds weird. Nonetheless, you got that. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles who are 6-0 right now on the season, looking like the best team in the NFC right now. And you have Bart Andrus' Philadelphia Stars, who just had runner-up in the USFL Championship. I'd say it's pretty good to be a Philadelphia sports fan right now if I were you. Sure, I'll throw the Phillies in too. Why not? And the Flyers, I think, are okay. I don't follow hockey as much, but I digress. You have a lot of good sports teams right now, Philadelphia. For those that are Philly fans that tune into this show, I give you a thumbs up. Good job. Good job. You got to be happy right now.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Zach. Anyway, good game. Good game. I hope good games all around. But you know what? This is why I need to get to that game because nobody's going to be looking at me to be signaling the plays, right? They're going to be looking for players. They're going to be looking for coaches. But little old ref over there shining a little mirror over to the pitcher and being like, this is what they're going for. You know, the batter and be like, this is their call. Come on, buddy. We could do it.
Yes.
Get me in that game. I will ensure the Astros win. They're going to win in 3 if I'm there.
You're going to win in 3. Jesus. Well, aftermarket salesman, watch out for the man that is either wearing a fake beard or is wearing this costume. You have 2 choices. Just keep an eye. That's all I'm going to be brutally honest. Just keep an eye out. Oh my gosh. Speaking of off season, while we're at it, this is kind of, this question was brought to me this week, personal Twitter, by the way, but it was discussion kind of around, I think spring football as it is right now. And so, as you know, both the main leagues, including the U.S., specifically the USFL in this case, we're going to talk about, they're looking for investment in capital. They've already said the USFL already has, its own banking firm that is looking towards raising $250 million for the teams and the league in the coming years. And one person brought up and said, "Hey, where do you think this will be brought, as in be, I think, executed? Like, when do you think the money, some of these guys will start coming up and ownerships will start, populating?" And I guess this is where I speculate in saying, if you're the USFL and you're thinking about like year 3 is the year that you say we're going big, everyone's in market, and this is now or never that we fully are pushing forward with an entire league setup. I think that happens. If I'm bullish, it happens during the 2022 season. They find owners, they announce the owners during the season. Or sorry, 2023, thank you. Still got this year on the mind, by the way. But yes, the 2023 year, April through July. I think that if you're bullish, they announce at least 1 or 2 set owners if they're bullish and are getting aggressive during the season. Otherwise, more realistically, I think fall 2023 going into winter is when they are trying to say, hey, this is when we'll do these announcements, to try and say this is where we're going to have for people in market if we're trying to get all 8 into market. Because I'm referencing the 3-year plan. I also think that, and I think listening to a few different, maybe a little too much of the investment equity firm types lately, that sports market's kind of gone nuts in terms of rights and ownership levels of cap. There's several people that have money, but they're not like Walmart, Denver Broncos money. So that's what they're, I think, trying to go for, is like, hey, here's your into professional sports. It's easier barrier. And I'm hoping that if they're aggressive and find those people, they can get that by at least July of next year. That's what I'm hoping. At least one. Give me one by the championship.
That's the thing, because I don't think we're going to get all of them at once. And I mean, if we get more than one at once, that would be awesome. And I don't even know if I assume there will be some kind of release just for the sake of, hey, publicity's good. The new owner is going to want publicity. The league's going to want the publicity. But honestly, I could even see it happening after season 3. But like you said, it is bullish to think that we'll get it during the second season. But I'd say, I mean, it's going to be very bullish. But this is speculation zone, by the way. So this isn't based off anything we've heard. But I could see it easily being after season 3, maybe when we start getting some of those. But maybe between season 2 to 3, I think is maybe, if there's going to be a bullish territory, that's where I would say we're going to see it in there. I mean, I'd love to hear it before. I'd love to hear it tomorrow. That's the thing. I'd just love to see it.
I mean, that'd be great, wouldn't it? If it all worked out.
Well, here's the deal. After the Astros win the World Series, Mattress Mac is about to win the largest wager in sports history. Like $775 million or something.
So that's if the Astros
win. Yeah, when the Astros win,
okay,
Mattress Mac is going to win. And I mean, he's already got a bunch of money from all those mattresses. Maybe he wants to get in the football game. You know what? I need to get on the dial with Mattress Mac and be like, get in on the skinny.
I mean, you can instantly tell him that, hey, we have a group that wants to hit profitability. So, we value your investment to very much hit this.
And more importantly, Mattress Mac, he likes to win. I like to win, and I want the gamblers to win. And I know Mattress Mac. Come on, get some of that mattress money.
You're saying you're saying he's taking a gamble to then get the money to then go and basically become a gambler beyond what he just did for Houston.
Exactly right. I mean, think of that. And that's exactly right. You buy the team with your gambling winnings. I mean, if there's any team you're going to buy, not to mention he is like the guy. I would say he's very similar to being like the Mike Ilitch of Houston. Other than he doesn't own sports. He sells mattresses. But he's also, hey, dude, if there's a hurricane, that dude's opening his stores. He's canoeing all over the place. Like, he is a staple in Houston. But either way, whatever it comes down to, those are the types of guys that I want to see owning these teams. Kind of like and it doesn't have to be the Illiches per se, but somebody that the local area knows. I don't know if I don't know if this is what Big Three does with the Ice Cube 3-on-3 basketball league. Do they have private owners?
No, that is not my. It's more like a committee like owner because they're remember theirs is just single entity. So their whole setup is really more like a traveling league. They used to be doing it where it was city by city. Now they do it where they do 2 cities a game or a weekend. So like you won like 4 or 6 of the 8 or 8 teams. I forget how many. It's like half of the league is 6 or 8. They go to like say like a Chicago one week and the other will be in Atlanta. Like it's trying to like fit the coast. That's completely different. But I mean, single entity is common in sports right now. Clearly, it's very common in football for the spring football scene. Because I mean, to me, I think this sector has the highest proof of concept issue when it comes to investors. I think, especially all the bad mojo that is behind you when you go, "This is our amazing product," and you like turn your head to the side and you go, "So what's that back there?" And you're like, no. We fixed all that." And like, you're like,
right. Yeah.
Sure. And like, so that's the whole, you have a little more speculation on, I think, investment. If you're talking to people going, "Hey, I do see like 3-4 decades worth of like issues. Are you sure?" Like you have to really be certain that you got all this stuff down and prove to them. So like the 3-year plan, if they get to 3 years, I mean, that alone, I think proves like, okay, stability's here. Fox is committed. So that's why I'm almost hoping like year 2, they come out of the gate, ratings are roughly too similar to what they were. And this is also considering the variable that you have another league competing with on these networks. And then you have guys on the side that go, "All right, I buy in. They proved it to me."
Right.
Year 3's happening. Let's do it.
Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I could see it being a mix of some people that know and people that maybe you've never heard the name, because when it comes to money, not everybody that has money is somebody that you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, I look at the Pistons, Bill Davidson. I mean, he owned the Pistons. That was kind of what he did, right? That was it. I'm sure, I don't know what he did before that. I'm sure that somebody's probably pissed off that I said that, but the point of the matter is some people are known because of the teams that they end up buying. Right. And so that could be the case here. I just want to see, to put it in a comparable, I look at, the National Arena League, to kind of kick it over to your other podcast. I look at the San Antonio Gunslingers. They're a great example where, at the end of last year, even the beginning of this year, if I remember correctly, their ownership was kind of in shambles. And then one of the owners kind of took over the rest of the team. And since then, their broadcast is much nicer. They have kind of end caps and little highlight reels. They have little shows that the dude brings out his service trucks on the field, right? The dude's making a show out of it. He's definitely putting extra care into his franchise, whereas maybe some of the other franchises don't have all the pizzazz going on. And I kind of like that. I love that idea because it's an extra component of competitiveness of not just the players on your team, but how much effort are these different owners going to put into these different teams? Like,
exactly.
Right?
And they get to, this is what I think people want. And I got to give props to Fox. Look, they're doing the best with, I think, what they've got. And I think you got a bunch of stuff where it's, you have USFL personnel that are working with Fox. Fox dictates what the USFL guys have. And so right now, I think some people have pointed out, and it's getting better, by the way, their social media, it's about the flavor. I think the most I've talked about with the league trying to improve itself is if you're a social media connoisseur that loves the graphics, loves the memes, the content, I think people want to see the flavors of each team come out more. And so that I think is especially what myself and I think you are waiting on and are going, okay, an owner buys in, what's their social media guy going to be like? Because that's what makes, I think, NFL teams and what, I thought in terms of XFL 2020, people still talk about this. Their social media game is like considered legendary because it changed how the NFL did their social. And I think that's what people expect now is, that. And the league's getting better. They have definitely been doing better in the offseason, I thought. But I'll admit, folks are saying, and I'm curious too, that's something with ownerships I really want to see is, you get individualized social media managers and social teams. That would be
Right.
fun, and I think it would really even take off farther than what we got towards the end of the year, and especially some of the stuff that we're getting during the off season right
Well,
now.
100% that. And I mean, bringing it into the real world as well, like fan engagement events, setting up things at little restaurants and bars just to raise awareness in those cities. I mean, that's something I really, really, really look forward to seeing out of the league as they expand into these hubs, as they find new investors or owners of these separate teams. But at the end of the day, the one thing I've always been comfortable about this is, even though you might have new investors, new team owners, you still have Big Daddy Fox behind the wheel. And again, you look at the graveyard of all the spring leagues that came before it, and I'd say a majority, not all, but a majority had very similar problems. They either had problems with broadcasting, a problem with funding. And neither of those things you're going to run into with an entity like Fox behind it. And so that's what gives me promise here. And even the fact, like, it didn't take long. We didn't have to wait long to hear a confirmation of season 2. It was right after the season ended. They were ready to go. It wasn't well, hold off before we say it. Let's check our notes. Let's see where the red and the green is at. No, they said this went the way we wanted to. They knew right away. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Boom. And then we're seeing signings. We're seeing the off-season pieces. We're seeing the social. But yeah, this is going to be a big one. I'd say this is up there with the Hubs conversation, right? Those are the two big things that I think are going to boost the league, if you will. The publicity online, everyone's going to be talking about it, but there's a difference between being a Maulers fan watching on TV and a Maulers fan with the option to go see the game in person.
In Pittsburgh or something. And that's the whole conversation. And I think we've stressed it enough, and I think others have too. And the league said too, it's about the long game. And this is why, I do find this approach fascinating, because most of the leagues that have done spring football, as we've said, they want in and now market level down on the ground. And I get that. But also we talked about this when the league formed. How much cost is then thrown on that you have to manage and you have to justify? It's all about going red and then going to the black in like 3 to 5 years.
Right.
And in this model, yes, I too wish that more of these. I wish all 8 were in cities. I'll put it out there, but I am for stability over, I would say, glitz and glamour, because glitz and glamour and stuff like that, I mean, sure, it definitely can help you get there, but I think showing a business model, and especially in the modern day setting of businesses where we have like IPO structure, we have funders going left and right. I'm throwing money here, I'm throwing money there. That's what I'm looking at. And I think Fox is a business kind of with this, you have a lawyer, you have an investment group or an investment lawyer group that's hunting down investors like this. That's what they're looking at, is like, get the backing, then use the money from the backing, and you're also saving yourself to where you're not pushing your own capital and gains down. Because remember, they're also a publicly traded company. So if you lose a bunch of money on that property as a gamble, and they've said that is a big part of their futures, the USFL and stock market meetings, that hurts your stock price too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on extra that I can talk about and go for days and days on. But you have to keep that in mind. They are trying to control and build upward, not go where it's heavy burn and possible decline. And that's how I'm justifying it right now. It's hard for me to do that, but that's how I'm justifying.
You brought it up, right? The glitz and glamour, yeah, that can help you get there, but it's almost always shown that it won't. If anything, it'll just drain that gas tank even faster. And maybe you were a success, but if you don't have the funds to do it again, or if you're going to have to scale back season 2, I mean, that's going to look a lot worse. Whereas this, in theory, this should always be a building product. The second year or the following year should always be better than the previous year, at least until you have all teams in their markets. Whereas, I mean, it kind of gives fans something else to look forward to as well. I mean, this is not a perfect scenario. Don't get me wrong. Just like Zach, I would love to see all 8 teams in all markets, but you know there's a certain section of fans, whether it's Maulers fans, Panthers fans, Generals fans, waiting to see where that team is going to be so they can start planning their tailgate groups, similar to what we saw in Birmingham, right? And the different crews. Like we saw not only the tailgate crew, but we had different sections in the crowd that you could tell were there every week. They had became like a thing. And we're going to start seeing that as these different teams build out, just from the existing fans getting those teams and then alerting all their friends that are football fans of saying, hey, remember that thing you wouldn't watch because it wasn't here? Well, it's here now. And hey, by now, remember, maybe the Maulers weren't great last year, but now we're going to the championship, so maybe it's the right time to tune in. It feels like things will be coming together. At minimum, you have the growth year after year, and you don't have to worry about scaling back. I think that's a good thing. Not a perfect scenario, but a good thing.
Yeah, that's all I can give. Like I said, to me, that's how I justify it. So, and I like I said, I was glad that question was brought up because I think, it was talked about in a write-up back during the season. And now, as we go along, it's going to be one of those things in the background. Obviously the next big thing will be the hub system and concept. Is it 2? Is it 4? Is it 3? Which I've heard that some people are like, maybe it's 3. I'm like, if it's 3, how do you do that? Tell me.
Well, we talked about that on the speculation zone. I feel like I'm the first one that brought it up because I say you make Canton that center hub, a little spoke for your hubs, if you will.
And we have. I'm just saying, I'm skeptical still of 3 because it's an odd number. So, but I digress.
Hey, stuff to look forward to. One of these days, we're going to be talking about it. That's the fun part. We won't be speculating. We'll actually be talking about it.
Soon enough, my friend. Soon enough, we will be on that horizon. I tell you what. One last question because it's Halloween, and then we'll leave you all folks here. And it's because I love this. I talked about the social media in USFL, and I like the Halloween themed question they had earlier this week. Not too far back, but it's I want to ask this for offensive and defense. So they put it Tampa. They've been doing a lot of these question-esque type of postings. This one goes, which player is the biggest nightmare on offense? So if you have an offensive player or if you're on defense and you are lining up across from someone in the USFL, who are you scared of the most?
Anybody in the fourth quarter is a Gamblers fan.
Yes, it's perfect. It doesn't even matter. It's genius.
Yep. I mean,
anyone can do no wrong.
It's the damn truth, man. I tell you, when it comes to that fourth quarter, more specifically, the last 10 seconds of the game, I'm scared. I'm scared unless it's apparently we can beat the Stallions. Who would have thunk it? But yeah, that's my answer.
Mine would be, mine would be really any running back that's out of New Jersey for me. And that's just, just how they ran roughshod this year. Darius Victor, Trey Williams, Jesus Christ. It was a nightmare for offenses to hold down. Sans Philadelphia, who did a pretty good job at kind of neutering that performance in the semifinals. So yeah, any running back from New Jersey, yeah, that freaks me out. I would say also I'd be scared of Reggie Corbin too. I gotta throw Panthers reference in there as well. And I'll end this one more. What if we flip it defensively? You're lining up on offense. You got to look across from you. You look at last season. Who freaks you out right away? You get a little bit of a shiver. You're nervous about the snap.
Well, so kickers don't count in this, right?
I mean, that's special teams. But if you want to say kicker, I mean, if you want like I guess a honorable mention.
Well, honorable mention, Ramiz Ahmed, because that dude was knocking in. Okay. He beat who is it? Cole Murphy on the Panthers, because Cole Murphy had the 60.
Yeah, he won up Cole Murphy, which me and Cheese Soda, as he goes on Discord, will never live down. So sorry, Cole, you still are our favorite, but Ramiz has the record at 61 yards.
So on defense, I mean, that's pretty tough because I'd say the Gamblers had one of the best defenses. But I think you brought it up earlier, DeMarcus Gates, right? That's the name I'm thinking of. We were talking about this in the pre-show, and I just want to make sure that is who I'm talking about. But now that you brought it up for being on the Bears, yeah, I would have to say that is That's a good one there. But yeah, I mean, any of the gamblers, you can't fight yourself. So sign us up.
No, that one's hard. I would have said Gamblers D if I defaulted. I'm actually going to go with someone that I think came on strong and was kind of wasn't as highlighted thanks to Chris Odom having just as a bit more dominant of a season, and Donald Payne. Adam Rodriguez. I got to shout the guy out. I love the dude's motor second half of the year for Philadelphia. He's one of the main reasons why the Stars season, I think, turned around to where they became championship caliber at the end and got their way to that last game in Canton. I was surprised he didn't go, that I didn't see him go anywhere. I hope he's back, by the way. If he's not, I hope the NFL looks at him, because dude has a motor. And if Chris Odom got looks, I thought he should have gotten just as many too. So he freaks me out. In the North, that guy scares me. Or Toby Johnson. That's another one.
You love to see it. And again, going back to our social media thing, nice seeing we get some holiday themed social media to go with our Halloween themed show. Speaking of Halloween, I guess we'll wrap it up with this. You got any fun plans for the Halloween?
I am actually, so this is as we're recording. I'm going to be bailing right after this. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the group Here Come the Mummies. They are they're a brass, like blues jazz funk band. Okay. Their whole gimmick is they are dressed as mummies. So yeah, that is how they roll. They're famous, especially in Indianapolis. They had a really good stint on Bob and Tom at one point that really put them on the map. But they're good music. Look up the song "Attack of the Wiener Man." It's hilarious. It's also a really good song.
You know what? I didn't expect that. I knew you were going to a concert, but I didn't know that was it. That's pretty flippin' awesome.
It's a song about a hot dog vendor. I'm serious. It is much better than it sounds.
That's amazing. Me, I'm just handing out candy to the kids. Probably going to do a golf cart ride Halloween night to just go check out the decorations once all the kids are done. Yeah. And I mean, that's it for me. Here's the thing. I'm catching up. I do this thing, Zach, where I don't watch TV shows until they're just about over. And so The Walking Dead ends this month. And so I'm grinding all of it. I haven't watched any of it. I'm watching it for the first time. And so now I'm at the end of about halfway through season 8. And so where I actually paused it before this episode, where Rick and Negan are fighting. So I don't know the outcome. I don't want to know the outcome. I probably shouldn't have mentioned this, because now I'm going to have people in my social media giving me spoilers, whatever. I don't care. I'm almost done is the thing. I did the same thing with whatever that biker show was and Breaking Bad, where I binged them in the month leading up and got caught to where the live shows were at as the finale plays. So I can't get spoiled online. Well, I guess nobody can spoil the ending for me yet, because I think it ends November 20th. So, right. Huzzah.
Good Lord, though. Yeah.
We'll get there. Feel like I'm going mad watching all these zombie stuff. So anyway, it's Halloween. We got to do it at some point,
Yay. Happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this special edition here of the USFL podcast. And hey, everything we hear, more news is on the horizon. I think both me and the ref are gearing up to see what November has in store. Because every time we talk with one of the league guys, that's our connection. He's like, "Oh yeah, things are coming more rapidly." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm thrilled." If they were doing stuff in October that got us all pumped up with the hub football announcement, everything, November and December, especially before you get into worrisome about training camp and possibly a draft cut talks, they're going to be announcing things. It's going to be dropping more and more. I'm thrilled.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm thrilled for what's ahead. Until next one, guys. Again, follow us on social at USFL Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you love this episode, hit the subscribe button down below, the big red button just below the video, and then click the bell. It builds morale, people. Not only for you, but for us too. Helps with the concert, with the giveaway, by the way, 5,000 subs. And check out Royal Retros. Use that code USFL Podcast for 10% off. Until next time, everybody, for the ref, I swear it's the ref over there, not me. I am Zach Kyleman saying so long. Catch you next time with some more news, discussion, speculation, and maybe a little bit of sprinkling off topic, as we always do. See you on the other side. Stay tuned.